Panting Productions. He's a little under the weather today. Thank God he's okay, yet he will not be joining us today. So let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Panting. He does a lot of volunteer work. He's a photographer, videographer, and right now he's trying to tweak his business a little bit. So he's doing some odd jobs and reinventing himself, yet he works with his church, does a lot of volunteer work, works with a summer camp, a religious summer camp during the summertime to give back to the community as well. So he does a lot of stuff, and what he does is he tries to bring guests on that inspire teens or our teens themselves. So we've had some very interesting guests on his end. For me, my company is 4A Star, and we're kind of an umbrella over the entertainment industry. We also have a pocketbook project, Avas eye bags, that's going to give back to 21 charities across the country. So we're also tweaking some stuff. I know, Felicia, I spoke on our True Living call about getting that website done. I did not live up to my promise, so it's still not finished, yet I'm determined to get it done ASAP. Anyway, welcome everybody. We have Felicia Romano, Omar, J.O. Gonzalez with us, Tiana Speaks, and we are on location because we're going to a Valentine's lunch after the show. So also we got goodies. Guys, I'm going to get your address after. I'm sending you a little chocolate for Valentine's Day. And you guys will have that. So welcome to the show. What I want to talk about today, since it's Valentine's Day, is our passions for what we do. You know, why you should love what you do, and I think you are all great candidates for that. You could take that off probably while you're on. Have that on so we can see your pictures. I mean, around each other before. I think we're good. So let me start with you, Felicia. First of all, where are you from? What do you do? And what's your passion?
So I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. My family, they're from the islands originally. And I guess my biggest passion is that I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for children. I'm an advocate for women and communities. So you'll typically find me working to support goals for youth and also for women in business and for communities to strengthen them. Because you know what? When women own their businesses, own their dreams, own their goals, they support their families and their communities. So it's so uplifting to see women empowered in that way. So that's what I do. That's my goal. And that's how I roll.
Oh, I love it. I got to hook you up with Marco. I don't know if you guys met before because he's talked with Mike a few times, but you know, his youth projects might be something you guys could work on together. So that would be kind of nice.
Okay, great.
Omar, tell us a little bit about you, where you are, and what's your passion?
So I'm originally from New Jersey. I grew up there. I grew up there pretty much my whole life. But now I'm out here in Kansas City, Missouri, where I work as a physical therapist. Mainly, I work with the geriatric population. So I help them, you know, if they were injured or if they're sick, you know, I help them get back to where they were or even better. And as a passion of mine, you know, I write. I'm a writer. This is my first book, The Phantom Struggle. And yeah, there you go.
I have one too.
Yeah, so I'm very passionate about my writing. You know, my aim is to, you know, write emotion-driven poems and short stories that, you know, many people can resonate to, you know, can find, you know, meaning in them or similarities, you know, with their life and my life. And currently I'm working on my second book that I'll be releasing in the end of March. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for it, but
no, I saw it in the book. Yeah, I saw that in the back.
Oh no! So that one's not coming out yet. The Phantom Pain.
Oh.
The book that's coming out in the end of March is Paradise Taken: The Diary of Eden Flores. So it's not even about me. It's about a different person.
Oh wow, that's cool. I'm a poet too, so I resonated with the book. I really
Okay,
enjoyed
great.
it. I can't imagine some of the struggles, that you and other people have gone through growing up. It's just sometimes it blows my mind.
Yeah, and that was one of my aims when writing the book. I wanted to bring like awareness, that child abuse, it's a real thing and it
Yeah.
happens to many children, and
Uh,
that's something that we shouldn't really like
I
look away from, or it's like
think,
treated as something is taboo, something that should be addressed, and maybe the parents, they may need help, you know.
yeah, yeah. I feel so grateful that I had, I guess, somewhat of a normal childhood. Yet we did have some family craziness. We had my aunt had a baby sold on the black market, and they wound up shutting down the hospital. And we found out much later in life, and now we're friends with her. It's crazy how the stories you hear, like until it hits
Yeah,
home, you don't realize what's out there. It's crazy. Tiana, you
right.
wanted to say something?
I would just say that I didn't. Eva told me about you before, we came on the show. I skimmed through the book and I can feel all of your emotions in the couple of pages that I read. It is like I
Oh my
can feel
God.
it coming and oozing off the pages because I wrote poetry since I was like very, very young. So I definitely like the emotions are on every page of this book that I've read. I can feel it. Like I can feel
I
it. So you did a
mean,
great.
I'll be honest, writing it, well, not all the stories, because some of them are like, they have like some fun bits in there. But most of them, as I was writing them, like I was either emotional or because I had to like kind of like, go back in time and like, like relive that, like
Yeah.
re-experience it. So, to really feel it, what was I feeling like back then? And
Mhm.
so yeah, I appreciate hearing that. That lets me know that I did a good job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
I have a book also, and it's more like little vignettes. And really, it's supposed to be a little comical because it's all about the experience you have in public restrooms when you're on the road. As you can see, I'm on the road all the time, and I love to travel. I love to take long road trips. So when I was writing the book, I sought out some people to discuss different things, and they were like, make sure that it's not just stories that you and your mom shared. Like there's something that somebody would be interested in. So what I wound up doing was taking each one and finding a little nugget of how to start your business in each story. So some people like it for the story to get a little laugh, and some people like it for the business tip because each story has a little
Yeah.
business on how to make your business better. So
Wait,
I find it interesting because I had
wait,
to
Ava.
relive all that all.
You said you prefaced this with stories about restroom when you travel, and then
Yes.
you went to business studies.
Yep. Every story has a way to relate it to, you know, like one of the stories had something to do with a crack in the floor. And then, we talk about finding the cracks in your business, and so we kind of relate each story to something to do with business. And it's pretty interesting.
I just have known Ava. She's very talented. She's very talented and original ideas.
Well, speaking of talented, let's hear from you, Miss Tiana. Where are you from? What do you do? What's your passion?
From Atlantic City, New Jersey. My passion has always been the homeless. And coming from a town where homelessness is just everywhere in Atlantic City, New Jersey. My dream is to have my own organization where I can take these people off the streets. I believe everyone deserves a second chance because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions with homeless people. And I've actually been homeless myself as a teenager, but I never stayed a day on the street. I was lucky, never had to sleep on the street. So I know what it feels like to not know where you're gonna lay your head every single night. A lot of people don't know that about me. My other passion is to make people aware about people with invisible illnesses. I have fibromyalgia. So when you see me, you'd never know that I'm in pain 24/7. You'd never know because I'm used to it. So every step I take, every place I go, I have to calculate it. It's so natural to me that the person next to me has no idea what I'm thinking in my head. There's times that I can't even get up out of the bed, or I can't even I have to. Maybe I have to go to the bathroom, but it's I have to wait 2 hours because I'm in so much pain. And if you're ambulatory, it's not looked at as a disability or anything like that. People, because of the wheelchair sign on the parking spots, I believe everybody has this common view that disability is only people with canes, with wheelchairs. Some things
Something
aren't
visible.
visible. You know,
Yeah.
so I would like to bring awareness to that, and that's what I've been doing. I've been working on that as well because it's very important to me. Because I used to be in a wheelchair myself, and this when I used to use public transportation, I was treated fairly because I had something that was visible. You saw me in a wheelchair, and then after that, I walked with a cane for 3 years. So after that, no one knows. I have a Packer myself, but no one knows why I have it. They're always, they assume if you don't get out the car with a wheelchair or a cane, and I'm in a group on Facebook. There has to be over 70,000 people in there. And a lot of them, all they talk about is suicide because they get judged so much. So if I'm bringing awareness to this to the average individual, I feel like I can save some people's lives. Even if I save one, I feel like I've made a difference.
Well, that goes to a mental illness as well, which I think is so prevalent in the world today. I don't know how you guys deal with it in your situations, but I think since the shutdown, so many more people have gotten anxiety issues and struggle with certain things, and you wouldn't tell by looking at them. It's not like people think mental illness is somebody who's really deformed or have a problem that's visible, and those things are not visible. So it's really interesting in the time we are in today. Omar, what part of New Jersey were you from?
So I've lived in West New York, New Jersey, Union City, New Jersey, and North Bergen is where I spend most of my time. North Bergen, New
North
Jersey.
Jersey. I've been in West New York, New Jersey. It's interesting there. But I'm from Brooklyn originally. So are you from the Bronx, Felicia?
Yeah.
Is that where you still live, in the Bronx?
No, I haven't lived in the Bronx in many, many years.
Did you say?
I live in Florida. I live in South Florida.
Right.
Yeah. But I've lived in California. I was raised part of my life there as well, and was married and raised my son there in Long Beach, California.
Wow.
I wanted to make mention of something that you guys are talking about regarding, disability or mental illness when people are affected by it, and you cannot see a visible sign. So for years, I worked as a case manager, and we're talking about youth. Like I said, I'm very passionate about youth, and created a life skills and employability skills training course with the Urban League. They had a grant for it, and then we had to kind of expound on it to teach these employability skills and image and resume writing and how to look for job opportunities. But on the case management side, I work with parents who have children that may have been on the spectrum, or whether it's Asperger's or autism, or whether there were other ADHD. It didn't matter. The point is that you can't really look at someone and say, oh, they have ADHD, or look at them and say they may be on the spectrum for autism. And a lot of parents wait before even getting a clinician to make a diagnosis because they feel like the child is acting out. Maybe they're going to grow out of this. They don't know what to look for, and the signs show up when the child isn't performing in school. So the teacher will say, I just can't get them to focus. They're acting out. And the parent is like, I think it's a discipline issue. It's not a discipline issue. It's something else. And I think that when we have these conversations and we give people opportunities to see, like in the case of Omar, his book, he talks about, these situations. You give voice to your experiences. And the more that people hear them, it not only resonates with them, but now they start looking for other things like, oh, wait a minute, there's a reason behind this behavior. You hear people talking about manic depressive and bipolar now, right? So years ago, it's manic depressive. Now it's bipolar. And I didn't know you had that. Well, that's a diagnosis. You need medication. You need a difference in a diet. You need to have awareness. You need to have conversations. There's all of these things. And then it's not just anger management. So I definitely believe that when we're quarantined, or a lot of people, I thought I was hibernating. I said to my kids, I said, we're hibernating here. We're just getting ready for something big when we come out of here.
Right.
Because we are stuck in here. We can't do the things that we really love to do and be out with the people that we want, because we're trying to stay safe. And in doing that, you start closing yourself off, and you got to get creative. So I was getting creative online. And like I said, when I talk with those parents whose kids are now going, they don't have the social outlet. The parents don't know what to do to keep them doing something active and constructive. Kids
Right.
are online most of the day. And when they're online and focused on being online, what are they looking at? And how are they judging themselves against what someone else is doing? So this is where we have to have these conversations. And is it Miss Tina? Trina,
Yeah,
sitting
that's
next
Yeah.
to you, Eva, Miss Tina, when you mentioned this issue with homelessness, right? So I work with a company. So I am now officially a VP of community with Restart America. And Restart America is designed to help support people getting connected again to do the things that they love by providing resources and a way for them to start connecting and get sanitization, funding, supports, community back together and getting back into work and your businesses, making it safe. And what we can't do is be isolated from people that we really need to be connecting with, right? So sometimes we're home, we don't know what to do. The best thing you can do is connect with people that can help you. So in the case of you wanting to help support homelessness, connect with Restart America. We have
you.
Yeah,
programs.
Restart
I
America is
appreciate that
great.
very
I want to
much.
give a
Right?
shout out to Len Davies for Restart America. We
The
started it up.
founder, Madeline Long, right,
Yeah.
has been working in communities and working with the population that you mentioned, Ms. Tina, with abuse, domestic violence, child abuse. That is where she thrived for so many years, bringing awareness and resources and programs to help save children, protect children, give children a voice, give people a voice, give parents a voice. And like you said, a restart for them, right? Because it's about education and understanding that there's some underlying things with mental health. So all the things that you're doing, there are some supports out there, but a way to hone it in and bring it closer to you so you can start identifying how can you have the best impact. The best impact is teaching people how they can restart, how they can have safety first, right? They need to be safe in a home, how to create sustainable living. That means understanding finances, getting a skill set that will allow them to work and to actually be able to maintain their lifestyles. Because it's probably not like they're trying to buy, an extravagant car. They're just trying to eat and survive. But how do you balance that with what you have? And you might need to have some understanding and knowledge about financial literacy, which is something that isn't taught in schools. Until now, you see some schools teaching, but we need more outside organizations supporting that, not just for the child, but for the parent, right? Sustainability goes beyond just having that child understand this. So the programs that you speak about and the impact that you want to have, I want to support you and encourage you. I'm working with community leaders, and we're bringing in equity into communities through mobile units that are helping people understand that it's not just about COVID testing or COVID vaccines, it's about your good health. What happens when you
Right.
show up and you have a pre-existing condition, how is that going to affect you and your choices? What happens if you live in an area where there's food is scarce? Like food security, that is a primary factor in a lot of communities that are marginalized or impoverished and they don't have resources. So it affects good health. Why are the numbers of death and severity of COVID in the Black and Brown communities? Well, it starts with food security, it starts with equity. And when we bring this to those communities, then people get their answers, they get their resources, they get to feel more confident, they build trust, and now they know that they have that. But we're bringing it to them to break down barriers, which is transportation and access. So when you're thinking of these programs, think about access. Think about the questions answered. Who answers those questions best? Who do you want to see speak to you about homelessness? I'm sure for all of us, we want to see people that really recognize what that is. When Omar talks about his struggles in his books, he doesn't want someone who's never, ever, ever, ever had this experience or couldn't relate to abuse or couldn't understand what alcoholism is or couldn't understand fear of, you know, being in a place where you can't speak your mind or your truth. He wouldn't want to speak to someone who doesn't even understand that and say, you know, I don't know about this book. I don't know about you telling this story. They can't relate. You want someone that you can relate with there. And so
I think those stories that he shares, even for someone that may not have gone through exactly the same thing, may be able to relate to it on another level. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that I'm saying like anyone could go in and say, you could feel empathetic. You could feel like maybe you understand or connect with someone else. But I'm saying if you had a publisher or editor say to you, don't write this, no one's going to be, you know, that person that couldn't relate would not be of choice. When you're making a decision about taking a vaccine and you speak to someone that just says, just do it, but they don't understand that, listen, I can remember Tuskegee. I remember they were using Black people to test out a disease, and actually they were infecting them. So therefore, I don't really feel like I can trust this system. But when you bring people that look like them, that understand, that could relate to them, to their communities, and now they can ask these questions, well, they're empowered to make a good choice for themselves and their good health. And when they're asking the question, is there something else beyond COVID, right? Because there's a pandemic and we're all kind of readjusting and pivoting, but there were pre-existing conditions before that. There were, you know, a deficit in how you have access to good food so that you can eat nutritious food and have good health, or have an opportunity to run in a park safely, have an opportunity to exercise, know what that looks like and impact you. You know what I'm saying? So those are the kinds of things that with Restart America, we want to bring to people so they have access, and they will always have it, not just through the pandemic.
Felicia,
So
I know that there was I was sharing the hashtag for Restart America with some stuff going on a few weeks ago. Is there actually a page, like if someone wanted to get involved or check it out, is there a Restart America page?
So there's restartamerica.org. There's Restart America _ on Facebook and Instagram, and we're on TikTok. Right now, Restart America has a campaign to wear your face mask. And the restart for your face mask is I put on for my city. We are representing our city, because when you put your face mask on, it's not just for you, right? It's for your sister, your brother, your mother, your neighbor. You're doing this because you are a part of something that's even bigger than you. And your small step really affects the overall. All of us can get back to the things we love when we just take those small little steps in the right direction. So one of them is put on for your city. So I would love for all of you to use that hashtag, I put on for my city, and you can use the number 4, my city, and put your face mask on. And on TikTok, we're doing a challenge starting next week where people are using the song, put on for my city and putting on their face mask. And
That's
this
great.
is a fun way to get the message out. And people, we can do this. It's a small thing. I got this. I can go in the store, go to the place I want, but I just got to do that one small step and say, I'm doing this, not just for me, but for everybody, so we can hurry up and get back to the things we love.
Yeah, that's great. I want to share a story with you, but first I got a question for you, Omar. So you work in physical therapy mostly with elderly?
Correct.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So,
Mostly with.
how is some of the things we were talking about can be implemented maybe in your therapy? I mean, are the people you work with, can they gain knowledge by what Felicia's saying? Can they, I mean, I don't know how elderly you work with, and what, what kind of things do you think that you could do to make it more educational for them, or more, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So the one point that is it Tina?
Tiana.
Okay.
Tiana.
Tatiana, I'm so sorry. Tatiana. The one point that you hit earlier, and like, it's just like, because this happened like recently at my job, where people don't understand, it's the invisible ailment, right? Fibromyalgia. So there's a patient that has fibromyalgia. And now I'm lucky enough to have been educated on what fibromyalgia is and how to help these people. But so the staffing at this facility, unfortunately, they haven't been educated on these ailments that, you can't physically see. It's all occurring on the inside. So they thought that this person was just being lazy. Like, they're just lazy. They don't want to, do anything, and they're always complaining. And so I'm like, who is this patient that we're talking about? So I go look up the patient, and I see fibromyalgia, and I'm like, okay, I can see the misconception. I can see why they think what they think, based off what they see. And I had to like kind of educate them. I had to pull them to the side. Look, this person is not lazy. Okay, this person is not making stuff up. They're in pain. Okay, some days they're gonna be good. Some days they're not gonna be good. And you need to understand that the no pain no gain mentality does not work with them. That it'll actually make it worse for them.
Right.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I understand it, the invisible ailments, and what I try to do is I just try to educate people, because I can't really flip out on somebody if they honestly don't know. All I can do is educate them, like maybe next time they'll understand that, hey, this person, they actually need our help. Like, they're not making stuff up, they're not trying to take advantage, because unfortunately I have ran into some patients like that. Like, they literally have nothing wrong with them, but they don't want to do anything, So part of those patients. But then there's the patients that have the invisible ailments, that they're not making stuff up. They're not over exaggerating. They're not, no, hey, this is a legit thing going on here. And there's a way to work with this type of patient. Okay. It's never to treat them like they're the problem. Okay. You just work with them and help them. That's it. Don't criticize them. Don't, so, I take it as a moment of giving, my coworkers who just don't know any better, some education so that they can do their job better. You know what I mean? And then for what Felicia was talking about, I've ran into patients that, I asked them, okay, so, what's the goal when you're done here? Where are you going to after here? And they tell me they don't know because they have no home. And I'm just like, oh, man, okay. You know, and I'm just like, man, I wish I could point them somewhere to seek
Yeah.
information, you know, like somebody that can help them
Resources.
end up somewhere, you know, a roof over their head. Um, and I'm just
Habitat for
like, man, and
Humanity.
it's happened on numerous occasions where, you know, I'm like, okay, so what's the goal? You know, you have stairs in your home, you know, what are we trying to help you with? And like, oh, I don't have a home. You know, before here I
Mhm.
was homeless. And I'm just like,
Right.
oh man.
Wow. So Omar, there are I would say that you can text me, right? Because I want to try to help you get linked to some local resources because you make a very important point. Sometimes people see like their profession and they look at it like this, but when they don't ask questions like you did, which I love that you ask that, like what's next for you is so important. And you find that in mental health, right? That people don't ask,
Yep.
how did this happen? How did you get here? What's going on with you? Because your environment is impacting your mental capacity, the things that you're able to do, your health, everything. So you need to know and you need to ask questions. And then you need to have some options so that you
Yeah.
can help support them. And if you're in a community, so you're in New Jersey, so then the first thing I would be looking at is where are the community hubs? Because now I work with 18 different states, right, that have community hubs. And basically, it's just a coalition of actual organizations, community representatives, state representatives, the mayor's office, city council, all together. So now I can tap in and let a community know how to connect people, right? And not just for COVID, like we're talking about, but
Mhm.
where's the food? Do you have dental health, eye care? Where are those mobile units coming from? Are they coming to this community? When it's resources for homes, I mean, there's monies going into some communities through grants. How can this person get connected immediately to have access to shelters and then for sustainable living programs? Right. So it's just a matter of you knowing. And you could actually have a list in a website that, of course, if they're homeless, they may not have access to. But wouldn't it be great if you said, listen, I'm going to give you a number of someone,
Yeah.
and you go
Yeah,
there and they have all of that in one place,
that's amazing. Yep, that's amazing.
right?
Yeah.
Now
So,
you're empowered and you can feel good about, having that conversation with someone, knowing that you can legitimately provide them with a resource that will give them opportunity for food, for safety, for a home, and for good health. That is what we need all over.
let
So
me
I
share a
would love
story
to.
with you. I want to share a
Yeah.
story with you. So, about a little over a year ago, I wound up taking in a boarder. And if we didn't take him in, he'd be on the street right now. So I'll leave his name out of it. Yet he has a mom who lives in Vietnam, and he saw her for the first time last year in 16 years. But other than that, he has no family here, nobody. So we took him in, and 3 weeks after we took him in, he wound up being rushed to emergency surgery for a perforated ulcer. So now I've got a boarder that's new to me, plus going to the hospital, dealing with that. And so jump ahead a little bit. He goes for a checkup from the surgery, right? And an hour after he leaves there, I get a call from the doctor, and she says, "Do you think you can get him to emergency?" And I don't think she's talking about like emergency. I'm like, yeah, I could take him on Friday, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, like, could you take him now? And the premise was that his heart rate was so high in his office, but she didn't know anything about him. So she had to go back and like go through his doctors and his history. And then she called me. So I take him to emergency and come to find out he has an anxiety disorder, and the anxiety raises his heart rate. So
Mm.
now, forward again, he's got he's doing a lot better. He sees a therapist online, and he's like a little brainiac. So he tutors kids, and he's in college himself right now. So he's doing quite well. Yet it's like you said, it's invisible. You never would have known. I'm like, where does he get an anxiety order from a surgery? And it was a whole backlog of things that led up to that, including the homelessness, the no family, where's he going to go next? And so it's quite interesting that it's right in my back door as well. And
Yeah,
you wanted to ask almost.
Yeah,
that's
I wanted to ask
amazing.
you more something. So you're working and you're having a discussion with the patient and you're asking them what their plan is, and you end up finding out that they don't have a home. When you talked about two types of people, like the one where you can't see the invisible illness, and the other one where there's nothing wrong, do you think that those people who are homeless fall sometimes in the where there's nothing wrong so that they can have a place to stay? Because I don't know if you like they stay overnight at your facility or not, but do you think that's why? So they have a place to be? You know, do you think that's
Well,
the
this is the thing. So the only way that you get into the facility where I work as, so I'll give you an example of one gentleman that I worked with a little bit ago. He ended up in our facility because he got hit by a car. He was homeless, and so wherever he was at, he got hit by a car. They took him to the hospital. They did their rehab that they can do at the hospital, but that only lasts for so long, and then they gotta take him somewhere else. So they took him to our facility, and so my main job is to evaluate patients. So I go in and it's like like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour session where it's purely like finding out information from the patient, and then seeing physically how capable they are. That's where I find out, what do I need to help this person with, their plan of care. Like, hey, they have stairs in their home, so we better make sure we help this person climb some stairs so that when they go home, they're able to do that. You know what I mean? And,
That's
so
amazing.
I'm going through it, and, he's like, no, I don't have stairs. No, I don't have this. No, I don't have that. And in my mind, I'm like, where do you, cause it's something that I like, it's something that's like, I don't think about, cause, and, in my mind, I'm like, this guy, he doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. Like, where does he live? And then come to find out he lives nowhere. So it's like, man, like, I kind of feel bad. Like, and, I find myself in those situations where like, I wish I could provide this person something, some kind of information where
Well, now you can.
we can find again. Now I do, because
Yeah.
every time that I would go in to go. So after I do the evaluation, like every 2 weeks, I go do a progress note to see how he's been progressing with physical therapy. And every time we would talk, I would ask him like, "Hey, so has your brother, or any of your family members, have they figured out, the what's going to go on after you're ready to be discharged from the facility?" And he's like, "Nah, they haven't found anything. I don't know where I'm going to go." And it just killed me every time. I was like, man, like, I wish I could just give this guy a card or a piece of paper or something, somebody that he could talk to.
I'm
But
so glad you guys are here today, because I think the connections afterwards are going to make some big difference. And it's interesting because with the shutdown, if you still want to call it that, or with the time that people are spending at home, I'm in high hopes that people are getting educated about different things that they not normally would have known about. So maybe not everyone, but I know even hearing stories around that people are taking a step back because of all of this. And like I said, I'm in high hopes that they're learning different things. I want to give some shout outs. Felicia, if somebody wanted to connect to you, how would they find you?
So you can find me at, I'm on Facebook, right? So my profile is usually where I keep all of my, work, because it's so vast and I work with different companies and organizations. But you can find me at felicia.romano on Facebook, right? That's my Facebook profile.
Awesome.
You can also find me, and my phone number is 813-563-3520. And that's my business line. I work with small businesses, like I said, or mid-sized businesses. I help them create business development plans and strategies. And one of the things that I'm really excited about through Restart America is I help businesses get funding for their projects. So we have an app, which is amazing. Okay, it's Friends and Family Finance. You don't have to be a tech startup company. You do not have to have, looking for VC or angel funders. You could be a nonprofit organization, have a small business, be a church, be a school, looking to fund a project. With friendsfamilyfinance.com, you go to the website and you can have this opportunity to brand your communications with your shareholders or your donors or investors. The good thing is that it's not like a kick funder or a web funder where they hold all the money. So let's say you have a project that you wanted to do. Miss Tiana, you might want to have a program for homeless people and getting them more blankets and food, right? And let's say you needed $10,000 for this. Well, you could use this app to start sharing with family, friends, businesses in the area that want to help you. And you could say, listen, I know you'd like to give me the whole 10,000, but maybe you can only give me 10. You can do it with this app. So now they can start funding this gift that you're going to give. And you can send them updates through the app as you brand it and let them know, here's where I'm at. I've received $5,000. I'm so much closer to my goal. I'm so glad that you're contributing. Here's what you're going to do. And in this, it allows you to communicate with them. You reach your goal, but you will maintain the money in your account. So if you needed to use that $5,000 to get someone safe or get someone food or get someone where they needed to be immediately, you would be able to do that. And
That's amazing. I like that. I'm gonna check that out myself on our new project. So, and I have to talk with you about that as well,
so
Felicia.
I feel like it's the most empowering thing. The last company that we helped support was in the renewable energy space. They raised $157,000 in 48 hours to be able to put their pitch deck out there for large funders. So, the idea is that we want to empower people. We want to empower businesses to getting back to business. And a barrier is a barrier if you think that it is, but you got to be able to create an opportunity, right? So,
all right. Tiana, so where would somebody reach you?
You can find me on Instagram at Spoken Change, SPOKENCHANGE, or email me at speakstiana, which is SPEAKSTAINA@gmail.com.
Awesome. And I think we lost Omar. He's coming in and out, so he's probably having a little issue there. We'll get his when he comes back. You can also reach out to me for any information. There you are, on our guests or anything at the best place for me right now is Facebook at 4A Star, the number 4A Star. You can always message me there. Like I said, we're still working on the website, so that'll be up. And tweaking a lot of things. And I do have this new project I want to talk to you about. I'm working with Man on it. So I'll get in touch with you.
Wow, I can't hear you. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. A little noise happening. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know. Maybe it's the studio. I'm not. There we go. Omar, so how would somebody reach you?
So I'm
Can you
on
hear
Facebook.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm on Facebook at j.o.gonzalez. I'm also on IG, on Instagram, Josh Joe, which is J-O, no E at the end, Josh Joe 20. I'm on Twitter at doc_Omar G. And you can reach me through those avenues. I'd be happy to speak with you. A lot of people have actually reached out to me through Facebook Messenger, and I always welcome, conversation, whether it be about my book, about writing in general, life, whatever, I'm open for it,
Awesome. We're coming down to the wire here to close out. Is there
Ava,
any
we
one last
definitely
thing?
want people to go to restartamerica.org.
Yep.
Okay.
Or
So
we're gonna hashtag that when I share it around.
I'm gonna put the link on your thing because we want people to get like access. We want them to look for whether it's business, also on Facebook, IG, TikTok. And we're gonna have some different ways for professionals. And my show starts next month, where I'll be bringing in scientists. We're meeting with mayors from different cities, and we're doing those community supports. We'll be speaking on my show. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm on Instagram also under Ava's Eye Bags, and it's bags with a Z. So you can find me there. Also at Facebook as well with that.
Okay.
We're coming to the close, so I wanted to give a couple shout outs. Will Santos, I know he's shared our video, so we're definitely live on Facebook now, and I'll be sharing all that with your pages as soon as we're done. And the Logan brothers, who did our beautiful intro song for Teens with Dreams. You can find them on Facebook, Logan Bros. And we love you guys. And again, our sponsor, Jerry Petito, International Internet Radio Hall of Fame host, 5 radio shows she does. Check her out, Jerry Petito. She's phenomenal. Again, is there one thing you want to share on Valentine's Day about passion before we close out? Felicia, I'll start with you.
I think your passion, you should always follow it. Even if you think that you can't live out the whole entire dream, of how you see it. Take small steps in fulfilling your passion. So if you love helping people, if you love for the sake of love, have love and lovely things around yourself. Surround yourself with it. And don't ever think that you can't have that you can't experience it. You can create it in some way, shape, or form. And so don't give up on your passion, and do what you can each day to take those small steps to just live fully in it, because it will make you happy. It will inspire you, and it'll inspire everyone around you to just live full out. So that's what I say about passion.
Omar?
So what I would say is, nurture your passion. Don't ever let yourself become, don't ever let it become mundane, or, where you start to lose passion. Always nurture it. I'm so grateful that Eden Flores reached out to me after reading my book, because to be honest, I wasn't going to write anything for a while until, the Phantom Pain. And she reached out and, basically, lit that fire, back up. And, her story is it's a different story, different circumstances, different person. And I was, I'll be honest, I was scared at first, but I'm glad that I said yes. I'm glad that, I had the courage, I gained the courage to say yes and to learn more about her and to be able to write her story. And it just, allowed me to keep nurturing my passion, to become better at what I love doing. So just, nurture passion, nurture your passion.
Right.
What I would say is, if you have a passion, do not judge your abilities off of someone else's abilities, because people will tell you that you can't do something and they're judging off of their own abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's a lot of free resources out there to learn whatever it is that you want to learn, to pursue your passion and take advantage of it, because even a long time ago, it was not there for us. I would also say, when you have this passion inside of you, don't let anyone steer you in a different direction. Just go straight forward, and just as long as don't let anyone change your reality. People's words cannot change your reality, only if you allow it to, and you let them get into your mental space. That's what I would say.
I'm going to tack right on to that. When you have inspired action, you need to take it. because obstacles are a thing. You can go around them, you can go through them. There's plenty of resources, as we all spoke about today, to get through an obstacle. Yet if you have inspired action, you need to take that, because we only go around once that we know of. And we got to keep moving forward no matter what our obstacles are. So I say, go out on a limb, because that's where the fruit is. So take that inspired action and move forward wherever you can in doing what you love. I want to thank you all. Thank you so much for being here today. It was so great. I think this is a great group of, eclectic minds, like-minded people. Yes, Tiana, one more thing.
I would like to say also that we need to support each other and stop tearing each other down. Combination equals multiplication. When you do things together, you can multiply a lot faster.
Collaboration, absolutely.
Like everyone should not tear each other down. Like everyone can add to each other.
It's going to depend on people like us.
You can go fast by yourself, but you can go far together.
Right, so right. No, man, sit alone. And I think it's people like us that do that, that are going to pick up the others.
Yeah. I'm just grateful for you, Ava, that you
thank you so much both for being here. Thank you, Tiana. Love you guys so much. I look forward to collaborating more. So, Ruben, you want to take us out? Hopefully he's like,
Yeah, around. But I do want to see the restart is re-startamerica.org, just in case.
Okay, I'll hashtag it on the Facebook post so people will be able to find it that way too. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Ruben, you taking us out, babe? We could just talk forever. I don't know where he went.
Bathroom break.
Is that you talking, Ruben? We'll give a shout out to Ruben, Monk, all the people at Hamilton Radio. It's hamiltonradio.net to hear all the different shows that are around. There's a really lot of good plethora of shows you can choose from to watch. So great crew, Gino, Doc G, Jerry Petito. So check out Hamilton Radio as well for other shows that are out there. Ruben? We're ready to go out. Or not? All right, well, I'm going to say goodbye and we'll leave it. He usually does the outro music, but this way we're not just hanging. So thank you so much again for your time. Thank you, everybody. And we'll be on again the second Sunday next month. And Ava's Casual Chat, Teams with Dreams. Shout out to Mr. Panting. And I just got a text from Ruben. We'll go for one more minute until he gets back to close us out. So again, thank you guys. I think you're doing great work. I'm looking forward to your next book, Omar.
Thank you.
Looking forward to chatting with you again offline. And hopefully Ruben's going to come back and take us out in a hot minute. He had to do something and he kind of left us alone. That's all.
Hey, Felicia, I'm going to reach out to you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
For you, Omar, while we're waiting.
So I wrote a poem when I went through something like serious, really serious years ago. And reading it now, it just makes me feel so empowered because I'm not in that mental state. It was for me to release like what I was feeling. So I was wondering, like now, I don't know when you wrote this book, when you go back, does it still take you there? Or do you feel like you got released like your inner, whatever you were feeling?
So I no longer have like sadness or anger, but it's just natural. Like, when I read chapter 4, Sunny on a Cloudy Day, the waterworks of tears always flows, because, it was just a moment in my life and in my mother's life where, it was just so much emotion involved. So I owe, but, when I wrote it, it helped me. it helped me maybe like think about some stuff that was still kind of there, you know. So it was like therapy, to be honest, and it was like therapy for
Yeah,
me.
it's very, it's very. When you get your feelings out on paper, and then it slides together. I don't have to read you the poem that I wrote one day. It is one of
Okay.
my things that just I feel like that person, was at such a low point because of the stuff that I was
Yeah.
doing. That when I read it, it's like, wow, like I'm like 20 times better than what I was even before that. And I didn't even think that was possible.
Yeah.
So to read it, it shows our pain.
Yeah.
So,
That's a great way
All right, guys.
to
I think
use
we're gonna.
gratitude,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Absolutely.
and I want for others too, so they can read if they're going through the same things that I went through. That's my plan. Like you actually, I wanted to tell you, actually inspired me reading your book. I didn't read the whole thing because I didn't have time, but from what I read, I always wanted to write a book about pain, like even if it's something I haven't went through, because I just have that ability, and people can open it up if they've had a loss of a loved one
Do
or
it.
whatever they had, and
I say
they
do it.
can read it.
Yep. Even if
So
you're talking about the
Hey.
stories of the people that you're meeting, that lives that you're impacting, their stories, if they don't have a voice for it, help them
that's what. Yes, I'm
find
so
that,
good at that.
that way, and then give them, a journal or a pen and paper, and then help them say what you're saying right now. I can now
Right.
say, I was there in this place. I'm vibrating so much higher. I'm in such a better headspace. And I can
Yeah.
see it. I can recognize it. I can be grateful for this transition. And I'm made better and whole and complete because of it. Not that it destroyed you, not that you can't have a vision for your life, not that you have lost hope. And I think that's what people need now. They need to know that this is just a phase. This is something that happens. And you know what? There's a lot of things that are going to happen, but you're not broke. You're not broken. You can get up and you can keep moving. And as you move, you'll gain momentum and get stronger. And you'll just be flexing that muscle that, you didn't know you had, because now you can see, I was there and look where I've come. It's like watching a child take their first steps. They get up and they fall down. They get up and they fall down. They get up and then they take 2 steps. They fall down. They get up. And then it's like that whole process. And suddenly they're not falling. And they're like, look at me. Well, we do that. We get up, we fall down. We get up, it hurts, we get back up, and then we like, wait a minute, I'm like 10 steps ahead. I didn't even fall this time. And guess what? I got more energy and hope now than I had before. I'm gonna run now, right? And it's not what a kid does. They're like, all of a sudden they're walking and now they're running.
And that's it. Getting up one more time, then you fall down. That's it. So you can knock me down, but watch out when you get up, right?
That's right.
Okay, so Ruben is back. So
Okay, I just want to say one more thing. If you ever have another patient, or if you have a current patient with fibromyalgia or so, or any invisible illness, you are like a gem to people who have it. Like you really are. People who don't have it and understand. If you just simply just say something to that person, just one thing, like, I understand what you're going through and I'm sorry that you're judged. You have no idea how much of an impact you can make, even if they're out of your sight for years to come. That one thing you say can mean such a difference. And I just want you to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm okay, but I see this online constantly. People want to take their lives. So
yeah.
You can save somebody's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
just want to put that in your head,
Yeah. Well, Ruben is back. He was taking us a little extra after 2, since we started a little after 2. So that was the story there. So I just want to say thank you again, Felicia Romano, Omar, J.O. Gonzalez, Tiana Speaks, Ava Holly, Ava's Casual Chat, Teens with Dreams. Ruben, take us out, babe.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Teens with dreams.
Thank you again.
Teens with dreams.
This is the Legion.
Teens with dreams, yeah. All I wanna do is me when I grow up. Teens with dreams, yeah. All I wanna do is me when I grow up. Teen with a dream don't get no harder. Gets easy once you start it. No use in running away. Mr. Panting said you got it.
Yeah, you got that, and it feels so good to be on track. Even when you fall down, ain't no other way around. Your success is determined by your bounce back. Dream.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.